Hey everybody, thanks for bearing with us first and foremost. It's my wife's birthday for those that didn't see my tweet earlier, and thankfully she happened to pop in at home just recently with enough time to get Caleb to finally give in to the Sandman and go to sleep. Obviously, Barracuda tonight lost the game. The game's over, the season's over, but the show must go on, and here we are. So from the bottom of my heart, thanks for sticking around and waiting for us to babble on about stuff and then babble on about other stuff and just do what we do for you guys as well as for ourselves. So thanks for being here. And let's I guess let's get down to it. With me today is Hockey Jerk. Hockey Jerk, it's over, man.
Yeah, but at least it gives us time to focus on Mr. Dominic Atantino. Isn't that right?
That's right. Yep, that's true.
Oh, man. You know what, though? What a run. I mean, I didn't expect the Barracuda to even sniff the Western Conference final at the beginning of the season. And
Right.
you know what? They went on a hell of a run in the second half of the season, and, here they are.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, I mean, obviously right now it's disappointing, but I think if you look back, I think there's a lot of positives to take from this season. Now, they got pretty manhandled by the Griffins. And I think that needs to be stated. Like, hats off to Grand Rapids because they basically dismantled a very good Barracuda team. Friend of the show, Zach Devine, I thought really summed it up best. Grand Rapids was the first team that really forced the Barracuda to play their game. And and hats off to them for that. Look, I think I said going into the series that Grand Rapids was a good team. I don't think there's, maybe you would want to see the series go a few more games, but I'm not ashamed that they lost to the Griffins.
No, not at all. Especially, when you consider how good of a team the Griffins are. I said it, I believe after the first game, the Barracuda have met their match with the Griffins. The Griffins did a really good job as a whole, just dictating the play in the series. And, it was cool to see the Barracuda get this far, obviously, but
right.
I'm glad that the Griffins, who are very clearly a better team, just handled them as opposed to, letting the Barracuda create a false sense of hope.
Yeah, I could see that. I think another thing this series, and this, I'm not trying to just I know, obviously the easiest thing to do that for this point is to just start really mangling people. But Troy Grosnick let in, as if my count is correct, something like 19 goals in 5 games. I mean, you just can't win a series like that.
Yeah, it was a large amount of goals, and you know what? That's a huge. Obviously, you have to give Troy some credit. He did what he could. Considering there were a lot of times in the series where the Barracuda just left him out to dry. But I know it was the fifth goal in game 4, and then I don't remember which goal it was in this game, but I know there were a couple where you want Grosnick to have that save, and ultimately he just didn't. But as a whole, I thought he had an outstanding season, and I just think the long season and how much of a push there was in the second half just caught up to him, and really I think it caught up to everybody.
I think so too. I think that when you look at this team, and look at injuries, it's playoffs, everyone's hurt. But, again, and Christine's saying in the chat, like, I'm not trying to completely take a dump on Trey because Trey Grosnick was sometimes the best Barracuda player on the ice, especially at many points during this playoffs. We did here, we've done a ton of shows where we said, probably more shows than I would like, where we said, thank God for Trey Grosnick, because if not for Trey Grosnick, this game's not even close, or the Barracuda aren't winning. So, that having to rely that heavily on Grosnick, I think kind of, the fact that they got a little comfy doing that, really, really hurt them. Vince bringing up Chartier, which is where I was going next. I mean, the Barracuda, I'm not going to say Chartier is the difference between winning and losing the series, but the loss of Chartier was significant for this team. Joachim Ryan missing looked like what, from the middle of the second period on, that's a blow. Nikita Yefilov's, there's definitely guys out that really, that really play significant roles for this team, some bigger than others, obviously. So, I mean, there is some, I don't want to make excuses because I think that the better team won, but it's definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you're going to see it in any long playoff run. Injuries are going to catch up to you. But
Right.
in this instance, it was, the key players who were injured. We were without Sorensen for a while, who
Yep.
brings, speed and, a nose for the net. Same with Chartier, who, again, didn't light up the score sheet, but he was very responsible in his own end. And, he was kind of one of those guys who would chip in when you need them, and obviously provides, center depth that during the regular season was just unmatchable by anybody else. And then,
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, Chartier, aside from Grosnick and obviously Ryan Carpenter, was the best Barracuda player in the first round.
yeah, absolutely. It was.
They like he would be in the top three.
I definitely agree with you, especially because we said on the series preview that Stockton's first line had some real shooters on it, but
Mhm.
beyond that, their depth just couldn't keep up with the Barracuda because say you throw as your Stockton, you throw out your top line or whatever, and they have a good shift, and then you go with your second line, which is okay, but then it's like, okay, that second line has to go against either Carpenter, O'Regan, or Chartier.
Mhm.
It's the beloved three-headed monster that we like to refer to here. And then, like you said too, Joachim Ryan going down in the second period. I mean, Joachim Ryan is our best defenseman, so automatically you have to shuffle things around. I
Yep.
think Mueller took a couple shifts with Tim Heed, and man, Mirko Mueller. I mean, I know, what the fun thing obviously is to crap on Mirko Mueller, and he has had some bright spots this season, but man, I seriously am putting his effort level into question in this game.
Yeah, and Mirko Mueller is coming up a lot in the chat right now too, and I think I agree he's an easy scapegoat, but I don't necessarily think that's what's happening today. Like, I think his game was not good. And, you want players to be at their best, especially in a game like this, um, where the season's on the line. And whew, I honestly, I don't know like what they do with Mueller at this point. And it kind of scares me too, because there's, one place where we're going to have a logjam of players still next year is on the D line. Like, I think the blue line's going to have just a logjam of players again. And there's a part of me that's, I hate calling players a bust too soon, but there's a part of me that's very concerned that Mueller's going to take ice time away from possibly a better player, or a player that may have a better chance of developing. And that bothers me.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000% there. And you know what? You take expansion out of it.
Yeah.
I think if the Sharks were, confident in Mirko Mueller's abilities to be a top four defenseman in the NHL, then they wouldn't have signed guys like Paul Martin and David Schlemko to 4-year deals. They
Right.
wouldn't have given Dylan DeMello, a 2-year deal where the second year was a one-way contract. And then, you have guys like Joachim Ryan who could step into the NHL. Same thing with Tim Heed. I mean, I know
Yep.
Peter DeBoer is a fan of the left-right combination, and obviously that would make things a little easier for Mueller. But talking just strict body count, like there's a lot of guys who are just passing up Mirko Mueller, and that's kind of makes me think that he could potentially be on the way out, not because he is bad or whatever. I just think there's no room for him, to be honest, considering how slow he's taken to take that next step.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely concerning, especially, and look at, I mean, it's not like there's some quality players. Like, I don't know what to expect from Jeremy Watt next year because of the injury history, and we don't know that he's going to step on the ice and not blow out his knee or ankle or whatever immediately. But I mean, there's guys like that you obviously want to see get ice time, and there's still, you still have your Middletons, and I don't know what I'm not sure where McNally's at with his contract, but
I
uh,
think McNally is a pending free agent, so he probably isn't back.
okay. So I mean, so there's bodies to move around, but you also got a guy like Kevin Fitzgerald coming in, who I think
Yeah.
could easily step into a role at the Barracuda next year. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. Now, Mirko up this year? Next year?
I believe he's a restricted free agent this year. Yeah, he is a restricted free agent this year.
Okay.
And you bring up a good point too. You have Jeremy Waugh, God willing, doesn't, stub his toe on something and misses the whole season. And you have him, you have Kevon Fitzgerald, like you said, Bergman, I think, starts, Middleton, DeSimone's got 2 years. Because this playoff run he was just on an ATO. And honestly, I think you can get away with keeping Joachim Ryan in the AHL for one more year.
Right.
I think you can get away with it. I think after this coming season, I think he's in the NHL, but I think you can get away with him for one more year in the AHL. So, we talk about him, Mirko Mueller, running out of spots in the NHL. He's running out of spots with the Barracuda too.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have a hard time seeing Doug Wilson just parting ways with Mirko Mueller at this point, like just first RFA contract and walking away from him.
Yeah.
But man, I wouldn't, I wouldn't be shocked for another like 2-year, two-way deal.
Yeah, or even, I could see what Doug Wilson do with Mirko Mueller, what he anticipated would happen with Matt Nieto, where you give him a 1-year show me deal and then eventually try and get an asset for him.
Right.
Obviously, with Matt Nieto, we had to put him on waivers because nobody wanted to give up an asset for him. But I think that's where Mirko Mueller is heading. I don't think it's a matter of the Sharks broke him in his first year or whatever. I
think it's part of it.
Oh, I mean, absolutely, it is part of it, but I don't think it's the whole. I think there's more to it. It's very obvious he lacks confidence with his skating, which continues to confuse me because he's probably the best skating defenseman on the Barracuda, to be honest.
Probably.
And same thing, his breakout is very predictable. I was going to make
are predictable.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to make a joke that my next article on Teal Town USA is a diagram of the Mirko Mueller breakout. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Nice.
But there's just so many little things with Mirko Mueller that when you add them all together, it's just one big, just question mark for me,
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's rough, and I've been a Mirko defender at times, and I'm always very, I'm very pragmatic about, getting out there with the bust word. But I really think that, unless something drastically changes, Mirko Mueller's next deal could very well be his last in North America.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And, it's a shame too, because, the year that the Sharks drafted him, he was Everett's best defenseman.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, I know some people are saying you can't you cannot tender him, but I don't think that would be prudent. That's just not good asset management. He's going to cost nothing to re-up. And he's getting older, but he's still young-ish. I get especially after a game like this, where obviously, when you see a performance like that, the feelings are very raw, obviously, but to just not tender him at all, I think could potentially be a mistake. I think if you're Doug Wilson, you have to ride this train a little bit longer, but there should be some rope there too.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And something else I want to point out too, Nick DeSimone is getting a lot of love in the chat. I think we should.
As well, he should. That. Oh yeah, DeSimone's great. I mean, you got, and that's the thing, right? Like, you look at the expansion draft, which I'm sure is going to get plenty of talk from us now that we can talk about NHL stuff again. And I still think that there's a good chance someone from the blue line is gone. So that might open up a spot for Heat or Ryan, to be the seventh guy. But that doesn't really leave much open on the Barracuda because you've, like I said, you got Jeremy Waugh coming in, you've got Kevin Fitzgerald coming in, you've got a guy in Nick DeSimone who has just been great coming back to this, coming into the fold as late as he did, learning the system as quickly as he did. DeSimone's a lock. They just made those 2 signings for the defenseman. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Someone from Europe.
His name is
Schmick or something.
Redeem Smek.
Yeah, okay, Redeem Smek. Now I don't know a ton about this guy. Like, it's been so busy, I haven't really had a chance to really do my homework on this guy. But the fact that I haven't heard his name before makes me think that that's obviously, a guy who's going to be competing for a spot on the Barracuda blue line. You got a guy like Jacob Middleton still on the blue line. There's a lot of there's not a lot of jobs there.
Yeah, agreed. Especially when, like I said, I think Middleton, DeSimone, even though they were the bottom pair when you get technical and break it down, I trust them more than the Mueller-Bergman pair, and I think they were out there for more of the, I guess, key defensive zone faceoffs, if you will. Sure. And I honestly would be surprised if Middleton, DeSimone isn't a pair on opening night for the Barracuda. Like, I just think they have instant chemistry, and what a season Middleton had. I mean, yeah. pre All-Star break, he was the 7th defenseman in and out of the lineup, and then something just clicked, and he's like, "No, what are you talking about? I'm the best guy here. I'm going to play like it."
Yeah, no, I like that too, and I really want to see Bergman without Mueller because
agreed.
I feel like to really, I don't know what to make of Bergman now, and I've been really up and down on Bergman throughout the year, to the point where, and I still think, like, compared to his season last year, I thought this year was really good for him. But I kind of want to see what he looks like without Mirko Mueller. Because I'm not sure what the Sharks have with him right now.
Yeah, it's very interesting. He was taken in the 2nd round of his draft year, and it was kind of like, the...
Sorry, Vince in the chat. Who else wants that? Bergman, probably.
Yeah, no, agreed. But, when the Sharks drafted Bergman, there was a lot of intrigue around him because it's like, we kind of plucked this guy in the 2nd round, and he was supposed to be like an interesting little project. And now, he goes through that first season and he's okay. And then this season, he's actually taken some strides. And then, for whatever reason, took a step back during the playoffs. I'd like to see him with maybe not Joakim Ryan, but a defenseman like Joakim Ryan, who's just oozes confidence with the puck. And it's a guy who can bail you out if you mess it up.
Yeah, one question in the chat that's coming up a lot is who off the CUDA is going to be up next year. Honestly, it depends. There's so many balls in play right now. We don't know if Thornton Marlowe is coming back. We don't know if if the Sharks are going to do anything in free agency. It looks like TJ Oshie's a guy who people ask us about as far as signing here, and I'm not really for it. But it looks like Washington's really close to a deal there. It really depends. Look, Dylan DeMello's around for another year. So if no one on the blue line gets taken in the expansion draft and the Sharks don't make a move, the blue line could be exactly the same as it was last year.
Yeah, agreed. There's so many moving pieces. It could be exactly the same next year as it was this year. It could be totally different. It could be somewhere in the middle. I feel like this year for the first time in a while, there's been a lot of question marks. For so many years, it's been, okay, who is going to be our 5, 6, 7 defenseman? Let's just pluck this random guy. But now the Sharks actually have a handful of, quality young defensemen who can take that next step. And it's a nice change of pace to, have options instead of just being stuck with one underperforming guy.
Oh, Nick has the best question. How much? And I apologize for veering off topic so quickly. How much did Shattenkirk lose by playing for the Capitals? I think that the free agent class is so slim that Shattenkirk is going to do all right.
Yeah, he'll be fine. A team is going to get desperate and they'll pay him. It's the same thing as 3 years ago when Matt Niskanen was the best
Yeah.
available defenseman. It's like, well, Matt Niskanen is okay, but he's not going to lead your defensive core.
Right. No, exactly. The chat, I love it. Yeah, so I mean, going back on topic a little bit, I mean, I think in the forwards, I think there's definitely some forwards that could make you know, could make a push. I think Timo Meyer's on the team next year.
Agreed.
Hopefully he leaves his bad soccer theatrics in the AHL. But oh frick, man. Timo Meyer, what the hell? What the hell? So
I honestly,
disappointing because this is a player who like I've been so hot and cold on so year, and I was really hot on after the thing, and even tonight. I mean, I don't know if it was here or Regan that got credit for that second goal, but I mean he was right there. I really liked a lot of Timo Meyer, but man, this soccer diving, smiling at the bench after garbage. We could just no, Timo, don't be that guy.
yeah, we don't need a Ryan Reeves. We don't need a Steve Ott. Like, come on.
Oh, this is like Alex Burrows level of garbage.
Oh my god.
Like
I
really
hope
though,
not.
I
No,
mean
it
that's
is.
what it is, right? Like that is Alex Burrows level garbage right there.
I don't know, maybe he thinks he's, ready for the NHL, and he's kind of like, yeah, I'm better than all of you. I got the biggest freaking thing in the room.
Right. Biggest stick in the room.
Yeah.
I
But
don't know. I mean, look at I really like Timo Meyer. And honestly, the thing is it's funny because you see different things from Timo in the NHL. You would never see Timo do that in the NHL.
oh, not at all. Like, it's so night and day, like
Yeah.
in the NHL, like you see Timo Meyer, he's physical, but he's careful, he doesn't he doesn't basically stand over you and teabag you after he lays a hit, and
Right.
and he yeah, well, in the AHL, like he's drilling guys and then he's skating by the bench and like winking and blowing kisses. It's so night and day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sad, guys. Chris just posted a picture of me being sad. I'm not sad. I'm tired. I've been in the sun all day. It was a beautiful day out today. We took the kids up to the carnival and they went on all the rides, but Caleb doesn't do rides. So there's like this jungle run thing that they do where they climb up like rope ladders and stuff. So obviously he can't go alone yet. So I was climbing up rope ladders and stuff and I'm incredibly exhausted. Oh man. I'm trying to think where to go with that. Yeah, I mean Timo, I think Timo. I like Timo, but some of the things that he did during this Griffin series were just kind of embarrassing. Embarrassing, like it's like it almost makes you embarrassed to be a fan. Like it's that bad.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where like you see him do it, and it's just like you kind of put your head down. You're like, okay, yeah, that's our guy. We know. Like, ugh, you don't want to advocate for that kind of stuff.
No, you really don't. So I won't. Timo Meyer, this is bullshit. Stop it.
Nick Neftepitz says he was about to leave, but because I made a teabagging joke, he's staying.
AO, take care, buddy. Sorry that it took me so long to get on here and talk to all you lovely people. What else do we have to talk about here? I don't know. I feel like the game was pretty straightforward because it's like watch the show after game 3, or I guess there wasn't a show after game 3. Game 4 though, you can watch that show.
Yeah, and it's funny because you asked me during Game 4's After Dark, you asked me what do the Barracuda need to do to win Game 5, and they did the exact opposite of what I said. So
yeah,
and
that's the thing too. Like I think that I wasn't too thrilled with Grosnick's play tonight, to be completely honest. Because I thought, like the Barracuda, not the Sharks. The Barracuda did a lot of good things tonight. It wasn't like the perfect game by any stretch, but they did a lot more right than they did in Game 4. And I don't want to say they deserved a better fate, but maybe they deserved a better fate a little bit.
Yeah, it was like Game 4 was just, crap. It's one where you take the tape and you put it in a duffel bag and throw it off a bridge. Like, just
basically, yeah.
get rid of it. This one, game 5, was frustrating.
Mhm.
It seemed like every time the Barracuda got the puck, they were just so tired from defending that all they could do was, chip it into the neutral zone or just go for a change. And man, the Griffins are just so good at clogging up the neutral zone. The Barracuda just couldn't generate any offense.
Yeah, Christine brings up a good point in the chat as well. It sucks because like you lost in 5 games, but you only played 2 games at home. And I get the travel considerations and that, obviously getting on the plane for the AHL team is painful. And I get that. I get it's more of a financial reality than a preference thing. But the fact, the 2-3-2 really I think it doesn't. I think it favors the away team.
Yeah, exactly. Especially, I mean, how many times do we see, you know, the away team steal a game in the other team's barn? We see it
Right.
at almost every series, and you think, like, what if the Griffins had won both games in San Jose? Then it's
It's
even
even
worse,
worse.
you know? I mean, I get it. Travel obviously is, it's a big component of it, but it almost makes it even more
Leanne
than
really.
anything.
I think Leanne has it right on the head. You go 2-2-3.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see that. Or even if you really want it to be home ice, you could do the three first. You could go 3-2-2.
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
three in the middle is just killer.
It's killer. I mean, yeah. Here's the problem with that because I've just with Cheryl saying he's like AJ's suggestion that that the higher seeded team should be able to choose, but if you do push it to that thing, do you really want to give the lesser seeded team more home games? Like to me, that doesn't make sense. I think it makes more sense to go to like a 2-2-3. I think that makes a lot more sense than to just basically give away home ice advantage and have it be like, yes, you'll have the 3 games in the middle at home, but when you get to game 7, like, don't you kind of want that at home?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you can make all 7 games on home ice, then I don't
Right.
really know. Yeah, it's hard. There's so many. Every method has positives and negatives. I don't feel like there's one way that's just totally 100% perfect. I mean, I would say the
No,
2-2-3 is probably the best option.
I think if you're gonna cry travel and everything else, then 2-2-3 would make the most sense, which is why they won't do it.
Yep.
Or Chris with the 3-3-1, also fun.
Also a
Although
good.
I think that's maybe a little too heavy advantage for the home team.
Yeah, probably you. Well, it's
I
so
don't
hard.
know.
It's hard to say because I feel like home ice advantage doesn't really mean as much as it used to. We've seen teams who can steal. I mean, look at the Barracuda. The
Yeah,
Barracuda rolled into San Diego and they're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and you're out of here.
pretty much. Pretty much.
So
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I mean, I don't think there's a right answer here. I just think that the 2-3-2, and I understand why they do it this way, and I think it's fine. Like it is what it is, but it sucks for the Barracuda, who, for being a top seeded team, um, I still feel like they played more road games than home games over the course of the playoffs. Now maybe I'm wrong, and this is just me spitballing, but they might have played more road games than home games during the course of the playoffs.
let's see. They did in the first round. It was 3 at home and 2 on the road,
Okay.
and then in the second round it was 2 at home and 3 on the road. So that's 5-5. And then this one, it was 2 at home and 3 on the road. So 7 at home and 8 on the road. Yeah, you're
There
right.
you go. Bam. Champion of the world.
Home ice advantage is a fake stat.
It's a fake stat. Factor fiction. I think we talked about this yesterday. I believe we both have the Preds. How many games do you have the Preds in?
I have the Predators in 6.
Yeah, that's what I have as well. So there you go. False. 7. Not 7, 6.
1,
Maybe
1,
even
1,
5.
2, 1, 1.
Look, let's not get silly now.
1-1-1-1-1-1-1.
Yeah, just keep going back and forth and just completely, bankrupt the AHL in one season. Oh, this is fake news. I love it. Something we didn't talk about yesterday when we were kind of just randomly shooting stuff around, and it was Sharks related. We realized after Larry Robinson is moving on after this contract with the San Jose Sharks. What are your thoughts on Larry Robinson moving on?
I mean, I don't know. What did he really do since leaving from behind the bench? Sang the praises of Brent Burns. I mean, I don't know. He was kind of in the shadows, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see a whole lot of him.
I mean, he was the director of player development, but I don't know how much of a fancy title that was. To me, here's the things that I have a problem with Larry Robinson. And look, and I realize this is completely blasphemous because Larry Robinson, obviously a Hall of Fame defenseman, obviously a multi-time Stanley Cup winner, as both a player and a coach. Even as a head coach, he won as well as being an assistant coach. And
Chris saying 69-1.
60, yeah, I agree. 69-1. Oh geez. Which now he's responded with 69-420. Okay, so back to Larry Robinson. There was a lot of interesting things from Larry Robinson's tenure, that really kind of sour me on him a little bit. I know that, I know that there's health issues there as well, but even when he was around, like you would think that Larry Robinson being as the guy that he was, like, how did the Mirko Mueller experiment last as long as it did with him behind the bench? When Brad Stewart, we discussed this, when Brad Stewart and Scott Hannon were on their, last hurrah, some of their deployments were puzzling at best. And then, aside, I mean, obviously, I think Brent Burns definitely improved under him, but I feel like Vlasic may have improved a little bit, but Vlasic was good before. I don't know. I just like there's a lot of questions I have about Larry Robinson's tenure here that I'm not super upset about this. I don't think this is as significant of a loss as it's may be out to be. And that, a part of that is because obviously a lot of the more mainstream coverage is obviously going to be a lot more positive because of his stature in the game. But I don't have to follow these rules, so I'm going to say I don't think it's as big a loss as it is going to be made out to be by the media.
Yeah, I agree. The only way it would, be a major loss is if he was still lacing up the skates and playing 20 minutes a night, and he's not.
Then that would be a loss. Yeah, and just doing it in the chat here, I think the T-Mac firing did sour him as well.
Yeah, it's very possible. I know he was brought in either the last year or I don't know. He was brought in during one of T-Mac's final years with the team, but I think it was the lockout year. But, and maybe I'm biased here, but something I do think about in regards to Larry Robinson is, when the Sharks first started using Justin Braun on a regular basis, like 2011-ish, yep. I wasn't a fan of Justin Braun. I thought he was way over his head. I thought he was awful with the puck. And around the end of the lockout season, something like just flipped with me. And I was like, wow, Justin Braun is like the most underrated guy ever. So you could argue that Larry Robinson maybe did something for Justin Braun. But again, I'm biased because that was my own opinion, and I don't even know.
I mean, I don't want to sit here and say Larry Robinson did nothing for the team.
Right.
He obviously, he had impacts in certain places, I'm sure, like as any coach does. I just think when you look at the name and the expectation that would go with a guy like Larry Robinson, that he just, I don't know if the impact was as great as we would like to have it fed to us that it was. Like, I'm not saying that he did nothing. I'm sure, you know what, helping Justin Braun, he probably did, and that's probably a fair point. But at the same time, there's other decisions that were made when he was running the defense on the bench, and that are just really questionable.
Yeah, agreed. It's, I feel like he's kind of the last remaining piece of that whole, we need to fill our organization with guys who have Stanley Cups, regardless
Right.
of, how good they actually are. I mean, Antti Niemi, Adam Burish, yes, they have a Stanley Cup, but, okay, what are they
Well,
doing? Burish is gone and Niemi is as good as gone. And, yes, Larry Robinson has 9 Stanley Cups and it's very impressive, no doubt. And it would have been nice to get him a 10th so he could have a nice little ring for every finger. But
right.
Stanley Cups doesn't mean everything.
No, I agree. I mean, and I certainly wouldn't pin that on him, like, alone, that we didn't have it. Lady Dragonborn's taking off in the chat. Have a good night. Who replaces Larry Robinson? That's a fantastic question. I wouldn't be shocked to see a Mike Ricci take over for Larry Robinson, to be completely honest, or they might go outside the organization. But I feel like Mike Ricci's been the guy they've been grooming for that job
That's fair to say.
for a long time.
I feel like pretty much ever since Mike Ricci retired from the NHL, he's had a hand in something with the Sharks. I think you're spot on. I think they have been grooming him for that job.
Yeah. I think I would not be surprised to see Mike Ricci take over player development, because it just, like, he's been in like, that's where he's been this whole time. As far as with the Sharks organization.
Molerat brings up a good point. I didn't want to miss it, but he said, speaking of Braun, why does everyone think we should trade a right-handed defenseman with a $3.8 million cap hit that plays top pair minutes? I agree. I think Justin Braun absolutely does not deserve all the trade talk he gets. I think he's a very underrated asset.
The only thing that would make sense to me is that the only way it makes sense to me is if you have to get something decent in return.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
But I don't think his cap hit's that bad. Like, I think for the money, I mean, shit. It's not like he's, it's not like he's, like, there's so many worse defensemen on this team making more money than Justin Braun.
And I mean, not a slight on Brendan Dillon, but him and Dillon's cap hits are, within less than $1 million of each other, and Braun is utilized way more than Brendan Dillon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess I understand it. I think right now, a lot of the attitude, especially like right now with the Barracuda being out now too, and kind of like everyone kind of just being, frustrated with, obviously the way that the season ended for both teams, that there's going to be a lot of, trade speculation and a lot of, oh God, this guy's got to go. I mean, I don't want to do that this show. Obviously, like, I've tried to avoid it with Mirko. I mean, we obviously discussed Mirko, but I certainly didn't see him, I certainly at no point said, well, oh, you got to, just jettison him to the moon. There's going to be plenty of time for that, I think. But as far as Justin Braun goes, like, it's, it could be a money thing, but I think that if you're going to remove from the blue line, like, Brendan, I would move Brendan Dillon before I move Justin Braun.
Yeah, agreed. And like I said,
go ahead.
We know what we have with Justin Braun. He gets top pair minutes. He gets put out against, the other team's best line. He gets all the hard assignments. And I mean, Brendan Dillon, no doubt, he's a lot better than he was 2 years ago. And I'm a big believer in Brendan Dillon. But if somebody has to go.
If somebody has to go, I mean, I appreciate that money's going to be tight. Look at that Brent Burns deal. That kicks in next year. That's $8 million against the cap. I get that there's only going to be so much wiggle room, but I honestly think that if you want to get rid of I don't see why Braun has to be the guy to go. You have guys on decent deals. You have guys that you can bring in who are on entry level deals. That won't hurt at all against the cap, right? You just gotta, hopefully hope that Vegas takes care of 4 million or so of your cap space.
Exactly. And there no matter what, there's always cap turnover. I've said
Mhm.
it many times before, but the Sharks are essentially getting $1 million of free space because the Wingles retain salary and the Adam Burge buyout both come off on July 1. So
Correct.
that's $1 million right there. And Marlowe and Thornton, if they both come back, if only one comes back, are
They're not coming
definitely,
back. Yeah. They're not coming back at the
yeah,
value they had. Like,
exactly. You're not signing them at $7 million. That's just asinine. I don't care how many Barracuda games Joe Thornton was at.
one.
And
And
yeah,
where was
one
Patrick Marleau?
slacker. But there's always going to be cap turnover no matter what. As long as you can continue to pay the big guys. It's as long as you manage the guys in the middle,
Right.
then you'll be okay.
I mean, that's where, if you look at like a team like Chicago, that's where they've really run into trouble now, is because when you can't find those quality prospects that you can call up and, inflate their value by playing with Taves and Kane and then get traded for, it's hard.
Yeah, seriously. It's not easy riding shotgun with a superstar.
No, exactly. So you know what? I don't know. Marlowe hates the CUDA. He does. Like, clearly, I think it just showed that by not going to a Barracuda game. Look at everyone else that's been to a Barracuda game was either signed or is already under contract. Patrick Marlowe never showed up, which means he's out.
Chris Tierney didn't show up either.
Chris Tierney's gone. Both he and Marlowe are gone because they do not have the dedication to the Bay Area that Joe Thornton does, clearly. And they don't have the beard.
Yeah, what a shame. I never saw Jonas Donsk, or I'm sorry, I never saw Chris Tierney do the Barracuda goal dance.
That's right. Like, I don't even know what to tell you guys. I mean, this is sorry, Chris Tierney. Sorry, Patrick Marleau. It's over in San Jose for you. It is what it is. TTG 5. It's over. Maybe Marleau is going to go to one when they, if the Barracuda went further, but sorry guys, it's over. Season's done. Fact or fiction, Patrick Marleau signs the Rangers don't have room for Marleau. I mean, but that would be, that would make sense because the New York Rangers seems to be where old NHLers go to die.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, look at Rick Nash. Rick Nash was actually a superstar, and now he's
there to die. Well,
he's a ghost.
I mean, he is. He's up there too. I mean, he's same age as Thornton, isn't he?
I think he might be. I think he might be a couple years younger.
Younger, but not by much. I mean, he's definitely 35 plus at this point. I would have to think.
Hey, you know what? He won a Spengler Cup though.
I should probably look up numbers before I just randomly.
He won a Spengler Cup, so automatically.
Oh my god! I'm so wrong. Rick Nash is 32. I don't know what happened to Rick Nash.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because I thought he might have been.
I thought he was older, but maybe because the drop off, I thought he was older. Wow. Okay, well, this is the worst show ever officially now. So who stays with the CUDA, who goes, who's not resigned? Man, it's so hard. Again, there's so many other shoes that need to fall before I can really tell you what this Barracuda team is going to look like next year. I think, if anything, I think Timo Meier is my odds-on favorite to not wear that Barracuda jersey ever again.
Agreed. I think you could say the same. You could say the same about Marcus Sorensen, and if Ryan Carpenter doesn't come back, probably you could say the same about Danny O'Regan.
Yeah, I think Danny O'Regan. Danny O'Regan's another guy who I think could definitely get up. Depends what happens. Again, what happens with Tierney? There's a lot of shoes that need to fall to really say, because I don't know if there's any room for, if Tierney comes back and, they're still fine at center because they bring back, if they bring back Thornton, then, they still basically fine down the middle. You've got Thornton, Couture, Hurdle, because that experiment will never end. Christine says I need a big whiteboard behind me to keep track of all this. I really do.
Oh, you definitely do.
It's terrible. I mean, it's really hard to say. I think Timo Meier's a lock to be up next year. I think Marcus Sorensen also would definitely be a very strong contender. I don't know if he's a lock, but I think he's a strong contender to make the team. I think Peter DeBoer really likes him, but that's the other thing too. I think that if Peter DeBoer, look, if the Sharks stumble out of the gate, I don't know how much longer this is Peter DeBoer's decision.
Yeah, agreed. Especially, obviously DeBoer has the history of peaking early on and then just going all downhill from there. Now, the Sharks roster, as we've said before, is much better than the Panthers roster from 7 years ago and the Devils roster from 4 years ago. But, you go from the Cup final to a first round exit. Granted, the team was banged up in that first round exit, but then if you come out, 0-10, hypothetically, I'll be surprised if he's around by Christmas.
Well, and here's the thing with that, right? And I'm glad you brought that up, because yes, the team was banged up in the playoffs. There is no excuse for March.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, there's no excuse for basically the second half. Let's be honest, the second half of the season wasn't very good for them.
No, it wasn't. And really, I think
they had a few bright patches, but a lot of crap.
Yeah, agreed. And I think it was in either January or February, but there was that road trip where they were like, what was it, like 2-4 or something like that, but they got a point in every game, and so we're leading in the division. Like, that doesn't happen all the time. No. It's the Sharks were on the downspin since like March.
Yeah.
And the teams that they were ahead, even a little bit before, and even the teams that they were ahead of, in the standings, Anaheim, Edmonton, even Calgary, were all hitting ruts around that same time too, which is why the Sharks were able to get ahead. But then, shocker, all three of those teams got out of their ruts.
Yeah. Oh, was I supposed to give Puck Guy a link here? I'm sorry, Puck Guy. Wow.
Poor Puck Guy. He's probably
he's
probably sitting in San Pedro Square, and they're trying to clean up.
They're trying to move him out of there, look at no homeless people on the bench, and he's like, I'm not homeless, I'm just waiting for them to talk to me. Give me a second, Puck Guy, I will get you a link. I'm so sorry. I'm just we just kind of got on, and you know how it is. With everything that's happened tonight, I don't know, man. Mr. Puck Guy. Message me next time, dude. God, I'm worst.
It's okay.
The worst.
Oh, now Puck Guy wants to give us kudos after we left him in the dark of San Pedro Square. What a nice guy.
He is a nice guy. I don't know why he puts up with us, to be completely honest with you. Yes, yeah. Marat brought up a couple of really good points in the I broke. I don't know what happened. My window crashed.
Are we back? Are we live?
I don't. Yeah, it says we're still live. I hope we're still live. Oh, we'll find out in the chat.
I was saying in the chat that Russia hacked us because we were talking too much crap about Goldobin.
Oh, damn it. It's probably
Funny that it happens after Puck Guy sent the
funny.
link.
It's true. I think Puck Guy broke us.
A
Okay, we're back. We're back.
O L O L.
Yeah, Puck Guy hacked us. That's what
Sad.
happens when you yeah, sad.
Sad.
Anyway, I don't know where I got broken. So Mulrat brought up a couple good points in the chat, and I have to go back and find them now. He says he's fine with Tierney coming back, and honestly, so am I. Like, I think that, Chris Tierney's fine. I think that you have a replacement in O'Regan should Tierney not be back, but if Tierney's back, I'm not going to lose much sleep over it.
And you know what? That's a really good point that you and Mulrat bring up because, Danny O'Regan is still under contract for next year for sure, and I think the one after. So there's no reason that he, can't just be kept in the Barracuda that entire time and just simmering like a very nice stew, and then eventually he'll be ready and it will be amazing.
I agree. Looking at Jesus. Sorry, my wife sent me a picture and it was funny. The other thing, executive order, AOL.
Yeah, it's a conspiracy, man.
Felix's question is, does Bob Boughner get hired? I wouldn't rule it out. I don't think he would be the odds-on favorite to get that job. I think it's Florida he's interviewing, right?
I know that the Sharks have given Florida permission to interview him, and I know they haven't given permission to Buffalo, but Buffalo is interested.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I think I like Bob Boughner. I think that he did a good job with what he had, because he generally runs like your defense, your penalty kill, which I think the penalty kill was decent. Yeah. Steve's spot is safe, according to Doug Wilson. So for those wishing that Steve's spot would be the guy to go, that's not going to happen. As far as Bob Boughner goes, he might. I mean, he's definitely one of those guys that I think is going to be in the conversation going forward until he finally gets a spot as these coaching vacancies happen. Like, he's just gonna be one of those guys. He's gonna kind of like be like, not, although he's not a coach, like Jason Botterill, who just became the GM of Buffalo, had been kicked around as a candidate for pretty much every GM job that opened, and I think Bob Boughner is going to be in the same boat. But I mean, as far as who replaces him, who knows? I don't know. It's Roy Sommer.
Maybe. That's the thing, is like, I mean, not to crap on Bob Boughner. I mean, he definitely did a lot of good things, but I mean, assistant coaches aren't really that hard to come by.
No, there's plenty of candidates to fill the role. It'd just be interesting to see if they went from the inside or not. And you know what? It'd be interesting now that, I don't, other than win the Calder Cup, which I think the Barracuda probably had their best chance to do this year. I think that they're, I'm not saying they're going to be a bad team next year, but I don't think that, looking at just kind of the pieces that could be gone, that this is going to be as big as a Calder Cup contender as this year's team was. I wouldn't be shocked. I'm kind of curious to see if Roy Sommer finally, moves up to the Sharks bench for any period of time.
I mean, it would be a long time coming. I feel like he's definitely paid his dues.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'm not just thinking a lot, but I mean, I kind of, this is the one thing that with the Sharks, like, I really want to see some new blood in the coaching ranks and stuff, like, I don't hate Roy Sommer. I think, Roy Sommer showed what he had with a good team this year. And I think that, when you look at a lot of those other like Barracuda, Worcester, whatever teams, most of them were never that good.
I think the word you're looking for is crap.
Yeah, they were crap. So I feel like the one thing that I hate about the Sharks is that it's always like this, it's this old boys club. And I just, I would like to see the Sharks try, some new blood at start grooming people to do things that, instead of just trying to bring back players to do it. Or if you're gonna make if a player, or make one of these guys a coach, let a guy like Mike Ricci behind the bench, and see what he can do, if that's the way he wants to go.
Yeah, agreed. There's so many different ways that they could take it, and I think, granted, I mean, you don't know at the time, but I think the Sharks kind of missed the opportunity to get, Ryan Clough behind the bench. Because, I mean, during the lockout, he was the assistant coach with the San Francisco Bulls, and now he's behind the Devils bench. Now, he's technically still under contract with the Devils, so I assume there's some kind of red tape there. But,
Sure.
I mean, he is always shown, like when he was a player and when he was coaching with the Bulls, he showed that he's got a very good grasp on the game. And if you are going to go the former player route, I think he's a prime example of the kind of guy you would be looking for.
And the other thing too is you always get like a lot of players that Nick saying like, is there any chance that like Joe Thornton would be in the organization down the road, maybe as a an assistant GM or something? A lot of these guys, I mean, I'm not saying not everyone, because obviously there's a lot of players that have made some good money in the league and went on to do more after. But I think someone with Joe Thornton's personality, I think when he's done with the game, he's going to be done with the game.
That's fair to say.
That's just my opinion. I think for a lot of players that, you've made so many millions of dollars. And again, that's not everyone, I'm sure Steve Yzerman stuffed his jeans with all kinds of money over the course of his career, and yet here he is. But I don't think Joe Thornton has the personality for it, to be honest. Like, I think he just seems like a guy who would want to, after he's done, just kick back and walk on the beach with Brent Burns.
With no shirt on.
With no shirt on, right? While you're on the beach, goes without saying.
Right. And I mean, I maybe grasping at straws here, but I feel like a year or maybe a year and a half ago, I saw some piece that said, when Joe Thornton's done, he has an interest in, moving to Switzerland because that's where his wife is from.
And who would not want to move to Switzerland? Switzerland looks awesome.
Yeah.
You watch the Spangler Cup?
You could sit on the glass at the Spangler Cup.
Damn right. Yeah. Vince, you bring up a very important point, and I don't know if we talked about this yet, but Steve Ott is now the assistant coach of the St. Louis Blues.
That is such a perfect marriage.
Oh, here's the thing with that. Like,
crap meet toilet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I look at Steve Ott had a very long NHL career. Steve Ott. So I don't want to take too much away from him here, right? Like, obviously he knows a little something about the game, but I think sometimes in these situations where I just feel like you should have like a waiting period before you just like hop onto the bench after you play. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you need to be out of the game for like a little bit and then go into it, just to clear your head and not be it'd be weird. I know he didn't finish his career there, so it's not like he's super buddy with guys in the room, but don't you kind of need some separation from that?
Yeah, I would think so, especially I mean, yes, Montreal is out of the playoffs, but he's still technically under the contract to them, so it's an interesting dynamic. And I just, like you said, he probably still has friends in that room. I feel like it'd be very weird if you're like, hey man, I know outside of here we're friends, but I'm going to tell you what to do right here. Like, I feel like that would just be weird,
Yeah. Grit per 60. That's my favorite stat. And Mike was asking, why do Sharks always give 300-pound bottles of wine to players with you live in wine country, don't you?
I think so. Isn't wine country a little north of San Jose? I don't know. I don't drink wine.
I am not a geography expert, especially when it comes to the what country in California. But I don't know. I mean, look at if I have been a Shark as long as Joe Thornton and I've suffered some of the losses that Joe Thornton has, I want a big bottle of wine too.
Yeah,
that's terrible. Yeah. I'm a terrible, terrible human being tonight.
That's okay.
Oh man.
So I'm wondering if something happened to Puck Guy.
He must have been killed in San Pedro Square,
Oh
and I
my
apologize for that.
god. Like I said, they were probably wherever he was at San Pedro Square, they were probably like, okay, if you're gonna stay, then you're gonna work. So he's probably like washing dishes or something.
Probably. Poor Puck Guy. I don't know why he puts up with us at all. I think, okay, one country is north. I apologize. All right, guys. I don't live in California. I'm 3,000 miles away. I try to make a joke, and you guys get all geography on my ass. Name all 10 provinces. You can't.
Okay, there's British Columbia,
Okay.
Alberta,
Okay.
Saskatchewan,
Saskatchewan for sure.
Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, Newfoundland. Is Labrador a separate thing, or is that with Newfoundland?
Part of Newfoundland.
No, shows what I know. I feel like there's one. New Brunswick, is that a thing?
That's a thing. It's absolutely a thing.
Sure. I don't. I've been to Canada all of 0 times, so. But can you name all 50 states?
No, I could try, but this would be a really long show. 10 provinces, 50 states. It's not fair.
I don't even think I could name all 50 states.
Oh, now you're getting help in the chat. Jeez.
Oh,
Okay,
geez.
Maritimes isn't a province. It's a region.
Oh, Nova Scotia. I knew it.
Nova Scotia.
Yukon Territory. Man,
Yep.
you guys are really helping me out here. I should have known those ones too. I should be ashamed of myself.
Had none of it.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I wanted to say that too, but I was like, no, I feel like that's just like Eskimo territory or something.
Well, it's a territory. It's not a province. It doesn't have enough people to be a province or something. I don't know. All right. Enough Canadian geography here as people are starting to nod off. Obviously, this is our last post game as there is no more games to post. Prince Edward Island is the last one. Good job, people.
Yes. How is an island able to be a province?
I don't know. It's beautiful though, so I love the Maritimes. Maritimes are great. Obviously, there's no more games to post game after because it's that time of year. And I think that's there's 10 provinces, 3 territories. So obviously, you're probably wondering, well, what the hell happens now? And people were talking about, oh no, it's Puck Guy. He didn't die. Puck Guy, say hi.
Hi guys. I figured I'd give you some support since you guys are starting to play Geography Jeopardy on the show tonight. But guys, great job tonight. Getting through this. I know you had a delay with Kay.
Yeah, I had child meltdown delay.
He was just really sad that Baker lost.
I can't blame them, and so was most of San Pedro market was pretty much of a bummer.
Was everyone drinking heavily?
They had yeah, I know. They had a pretty good crowd out there tonight, and it was tough to roll. A lot of people drowned their sorrows in their orange jerseys and their treat-bought ice cream.
Fair.
But you know, they look back on a season with great potential, and he mentioned it. You know, at near the end of last season, how great this team is going to be.
Yeah.
For the Barracuda, and it's give him the credit. This is the first time that Roy Summer has coached a AHL squad into the 3rd round. I mean, you got to give kudos to that.
Yep.
I will hate on the guy as much as I usually did in the past. You know, you got to give the due to where they were, but you know, that first goal of the game kind of just drowned the sorrows into the crowd right off the bat. But at least we had John, Kaylee, and Frenzy there to help us get through the night.
Well, that's good.
But looking forward for the Barracuda next season, and now this month is just going to be insane with trades, with signings, expansion drafts. Will we see what the Sharks in New Jersey will look like? When do we plan for our Vegas trip? It's gonna be a fun-filled month. So stay tuned, everyone.
Absolutely. I'm gonna hang myself in Adidas stripes.
Oh, dear God, help us all.
And who could forget the Dominic Toninato sweepstakes?
That's right. Yes, absolutely. This year's Jimmy VC, we are not going to not cover that. We're going to cover the hell out of that, especially when it gets into August and there's nothing else going on. I think in the Puck Guy hit it right on the head. Like going forward, like it's kind of funny because like the season's over, but like now the real work begins.
This is our regular season.
Yeah, like this is like, when you consider everything that we've done, like, all the shows we've done during the season, and whether it be Writers Room, or, now TTG and After Dark, obviously, like, and it's funny because like now the work starts really, because it's going to be the draft, it's going to be the expansion draft, it's going to be free agency. I mean, and that's kind of what I was going into before Eric came on, and that's that. For those questioning, like, well, what's now? Well, obviously, we'll probably try and pick a night that seems to work for everybody again. And, we go forward, man. It's going to be, there's going to be definitely shows on this channel during the summer. I can talk about hockey no matter what time of year it is. So, there's a lot to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of things that because we were covering the Barracuda so intently that we completely glossed over that we're gonna have to go back and catch up on at some point. But it's gonna be good. I think there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna be able to talk about this summer, especially in the immediate future, and then going forward it's we'll manage. I mean, we did Writers Room pretty much all through the summer last year. That's really what we got going.
There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about for sure.
So, so I'm looking forward to doing more stuff, and I don't, I can't speak obviously for the other shows, but I know TTG is going to be here kicking ass, taking names.
Yep,
okay,
definitely.
What's the plan?
You're
on the spot. Tell them good things.
The plan is for us to make sure we drive Ian Reed into the ground every day, every night. We will be introducing a brand new program called Teal Town Game Night, where we just shoot the shit and play a game. And guess what, guys? The first game will be Jersey Map.
Ooh.
Yes.
No. I'm kidding. We'll definitely have a lot of stuff leading up to the expansion draft, the draft, of course, the awards show in between, picks of the expansion draft, because, the winner of the Norris Trophy will be found out. But first, the Vegas Golden Knights select with their second pick in the expansion draft, Mikkel Bonker from the San Jose Sharks. Oh, no.
Dream on.
No, but we'll have. I think once the exposure list come out, there'll be we might do a show and then maybe a roundup after the draft, and we'll definitely be covering the jerseys, because you guys all know how much of a jersey geek I am.
That's true.
And plus, like me and AJ did last year, is once that schedule gets released, we're going to dissect that like a moflika. For my sake, mainly when am I headed to Vegas for that first Sharks placeholders game?
That's true. I believe aren't we playing there in the preseason?
Yeah.
We play there on October 1st.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, October 1st.
Are you still coming to Canada sometime this summer?
I'm still trying to figure that out. Unfortunately, work has kind of deblocked me from taking my Wheel of Fortune trip. So
right.
Battle with my vacation schedule. So everything everything's kind of up in the air. Not to get too personal up here, but yeah, there's a number of things coming. But I'm planning to try to get up to Toronto, and if things work out, I'm trying to use my Seattle trip to go to Vancouver for a Sharks Canucks game.
Very nice, very nice.
Only a 3-hour drive. So I'll stop hatching your program. Thank you for letting me on the last 2 nights. I apologize, but thank you guys for everything and everybody that's contributed. Everybody who's watched over these 100+ shows, whether whatever show it was. We appreciate your support, and we already kind of started talking with people for next season with the Barracuda and the Sharks, and even with the Teal City crew. We have plenty of ideas on the horizon, so stay with us and get ready. Let's hope 2017-18 is going to be epic.
Very
so with
nice.
That, I send it back to you, the Jerk and Ian. Guys, take it away. Have a great night.
All right. Have a good night.
Goodbye, Eric.
And now he's dead again. Sorry, guys.
He's back to cleaning tables.
He's back to cleaning tables. They were like, they saw him on his phone. They're like, look at, dude, we're not, you have to work. Oh, man. Yeah. My Teal 10 USA shirt was a lucky shirt as well until it wasn't. I tried to change the mojo. I have the Golden Seal shirt on today. Didn't change the mojo. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
But will there be buttons, Vince G? That is the best question of the. That is the question of the night. Right
that is the $53,000 question.
That is the $53,000 question. Oh my goodness. Well, guys, this has been a blast, and it was really nice having you on. It was really nice having you guys with us. And like I said, this isn't over. This isn't it. This is the start of basically, where things get fun. I want to assemble the crew, get Kevin, maybe even, see if I can lasso Joe and, get us on here and really just kind of do a NHL catch-up show at some point. Maybe next weekend. I'm not sure yet. I think something like that would be really, really cool. Because there's so much that happened in the NHL, and we touched on it a little bit. Obviously, we wanted to try and give the Barracuda their due, especially near the end here, where it was obviously a little more solo tap dancing than some of us were comfortable with. So obviously you don't really want to have dead air. So you kind of want to keep talking and it goes crazy. Yeah, I mean, look at, follow the Twitters and Ian, what do you usually do without hockey? I don't do anything without hockey because hockey is always for me. Tomorrow I'm going to watch the Memorial Cup final. And then I'm going to probably catch as many games of the Stanley Cup final as I can while I, write this garbage multi-million page proposal I have to do.
Christine, sorry. I just want to say
ahead.
Christine says she feels like she's at the end of a High School Musical movie. Christine, you don't have to feel that way. I'll sign your yearbook for you.
That's true. I'll sign your yearbook as well. And I don't look like there's nothing behind my eyes. So it's really not a High School Musical.
That is true.
I don't look soulless, like a soulless creation specifically made for Disney.
Yeah, we'll be around.
Nick is going to start a sister show called Teal Tinted Buttons. That would be epic. I really like, I really like doing this stuff. Look at, another thing too I want to point out is that we're probably going to need a little help on the After Dark end next year, and maybe I'm not staying in my lane here a little bit, but if you think that you could hack doing all this and looking this pretty well doing it, I would get in touch with Puck Guy or Chris, and we can definitely try some people out for sure, because I think it looks easy. It's not easy as it looks, but it's something that I think next year we're going to need a few more bodies in the rotation, just because it's hard. Just the schedule of it's hard, I think. So
Nick Tiffet says, Christine, call me a super senior already because I'm coming back for next year.
nice, sweet. Yeah. So I'm just saying, and like I said, maybe I stepped out of my lane here, and but I feel like this is going to be a thing. So if you think you can look pretty and do all this, then if it's something that you're interested in, obviously, those are the people to talk to about it. And if you want to ever try your hand at writing, then come bug me, because I can hook you up. Aside from that, though, Jerk, I think we should probably get out of here because we've been on for an hour, and I'm just kind of rambling at this point.
Yeah, I don't think these people in the chat like what we have to say, anyways. So
no, I don't
probably
think
get
so.
out of here. No, they hate us.
They hate us all. The Barracuda are bad, and they should feel bad. Patrick Marleau's not coming back. What else can I say to make them angry?
Oh man. I don't know. I feel like you got them all.
I got them all. We're good.
Pittsburgh Penguins are gonna be the first team in the salary cap era to win back-to-back Stanley Cups.
See, now I don't want to listen to you anymore. See, that's how I know. Honestly, though,
why did you bring me on here?
I know, I'm sorry. Look at guys. Yes, have a wonderful summer, but make sure that you keep track. I'm at Ian Blogs Hockey on Twitter. Follow me, and I will let you know that when we're gonna do something, because we're gonna do stuff like me, Jerk, Kevin, obviously Puck Guy, AJ. The whole crew is probably gonna be working on stuff through the summer to kind of keep you guys going. And perfect. Just message me, DM me on Twitter. Again, thanks you guys for the support you've shown us all year. There's been, this year's been real ups and downs and craziness, and your support has been awesome. And I can't ever express my appreciation enough for the support that you guys have given us over this year, and just over time in general. Hockey Jerk, anything nice you want to say to these people?
Yeah, I just, I really just want to express, gratitude for all of you guys who take the time to stick with us and listen to us. Cause, like Ian said, it is a challenge at times, whether it's, Caleb doesn't want to go to sleep, or
right.
Puck Guy hacks the internet, whatever, it's a struggle. And, the fact that you guys take the time out of your day to listen to us and watch us, it means the world. It's super awesome. And then, if you want to chat, obviously, hockey_jerk, that's where I'm at. All the, it's off season time, so yeah, it's gonna be fun. Is it gonna be
off season _jerk now?
It might be, as it stands right now. It's noted Preds fan.
Noted Preds fan. I like that.
So we'll see. And then, no for sure dates set yet, but I know at some point, probably when the cup final is over, the pucknologists are going to come out of hiding. We might do a little thing.
Ooh.
So something to look out for. And then I noticed, I can't remember the last name. The first name, Steve something. Steve, where is it? I think it's Steve Cropper, maybe. Yeah, Steve Cropper. As far as I know, new to the show. So if you haven't already, follow us all, Ian Blogs Hockey, hockey_jerk, Teal Town USA, TTG Reborn. Thanks for checking us out. It's always nice to get new blood in the chat, obviously. And I'll throw it back to Ian because I'm rambling.
More rambling. Obviously look at, and that's not to say that there's only going to be stuff here. Definitely check out tealtownusa.com. There's going to be articles there. I have really one more week of hell with school, maybe a week and a half, and then I will have more time to do some more writing and stuff. So I will bring you my random robot thoughts and all that nonsense. So yeah, tealtownusa.com, hit the audio stream, subscribe to the YouTube channel, even though all you guys are subscribed already, because I know that. And, you know, on behalf of everybody here at Teal Town USA, you know, we appreciate you guys sticking with us, especially doing these AHL shows. I mean, the fact that we can get, you know, 20 people at some point live watching an AHL show it's awesome. And, you know, the numbers that we were pulling on the last After Darks were amazing. So, you know, keep coming back, because we're going to keep making sure that we have stuff for you to read, watch, listen to on your iPod, phone, whatever. Don't even care anymore. That's it. Have a good night.